back, my friends. My name is Eric. This is Mellow7 Gaming, and today we are going to play Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire. This is a game that I bought at launch. I may have even backed it. I definitely pre-ordered it. I was excited for it, but I'm not a fan. I don't hate, but I'm not a fan of real-time strategy with pause. And I found in Pillars of Eternity 1 that I really had trouble with some classes because of the micromanagement that was involved. And it just ended up, I just hit space, 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 space constantly to override the AI that never quite did what I wanted it to do. And so when the game came out, I more or less played the beach, and that was kind of it. And then I sat on it. And finally a DLC came out that added turn-based mode. Now, as it turns out, you didn't actually have to buy the DLC to get the turn-based. And so now I have turn-based. And I started playing it the other day just for my Twitch stream. Twitch.tv/mellow7, I think is all it is if you're interested. And really, really enjoyed it. Now, I don't have all the DLCs. I've got, it looks like Deadfire, obviously, and I've got some of these. I've got some free DLCs, mostly, you know, new Hair and Beard styles, the Scallywags pack, I guess, a deck of many things, of course, because you have to have a deck of many things, right? And I'm assuming that goes back with the whole Critical Role thing, because the deck of many things was such a big deal in their playthrough, which is awesome, by the way. Go watch, after this video, go over and watch Critical Role. Anyway, and some voices and stuff. So, pretty cool. But I do not actually have Beast of Winter yet. I don't have Seeker, Slayer, Survivor, and I do not have the Forgotten Sanctum, which is the new one that I believe gave us the turn-based as part of it. This is a free part. We didn't need the DLC. At some point, I will probably get those, but I'm poor this month, so it's going to have to wait. All right, we're going to try playing it, and alternatively, as if things aren't more difficult enough, I'm also going to try to edit this using DaVinci Resolve, which I downloaded the other night, and so far mostly hate. But I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to actually go out of my way and force myself to edit a series of videos, maybe not this entire series, because I think this one, if we do play it to the end, will be fairly long, unless I like it, unless I grow to learn it and enjoy using it, in which case maybe I will. But we're definitely going to give the first, 5 or 10 a run with this and see how it goes. That's my plan. All right, so we're going to do a new game. We're going to do turn-based. We're going to go continue. We're going to go with classic. I don't actually know. All right, let's click these, because I haven't done these yet. I've played a little bit off on my own and a little bit on stream. So we've got 10 of these unlocked. I'm interested to see what they do. So we could do, obviously these ones that are red we can't get. So let's see, this is extra money, not bad. Extra skills, your class grants double the normal skill bonuses. That's not bad at all. Fine quality weapons and armor, okay. Better sales, that's probably not too bad. Begin with the infamous Captain Passive, as if you had survived a mutiny. I don't know what that does for us. I don't know enough about the sailing game to know if that's really is super useful or not. A vendor who sells magic will appear Port Mage. These items will be offered at very reasonable prices. An expert ship captain. So we could do something like this and this, get ourselves an extra $5,000, and be able to buy some stuff. We could begin with fine quality weapons and armor to begin with. This is probably pretty decent as well. Enhanced ship captain. I'm fine figuring out the captain stuff as we go. If we'd already played and already knew what that stuff was, then sure, shortcut it a little bit and go with that. So I think what we're going to do is, if there's a 6, we could go 3-3, or a 4, we could go 3-3-4, right? Oh, there is. We could begin as an expert. We could go extra money with double their normal skill bonuses and begin the game as an extra ship captain. But I just said we're not going to do that one. So I think what we're going to do is I think we'll do these. We'll get ourselves the extra money, and we'll go ahead and get ourselves somebody who sells stuff. So we can use some of that extra money, maybe buy a specific item. What do we get if we had 12? Start at level 4. Oh. What else do we have at 12? World map explored. Pockets are filled with more and rarer items. Okay. 3 unique and veteran sailors become available for hire. Interesting. Okay, I think we're fine with what we have, though. I think that's okay. Infamous past. Yeah. Or, hold on. I know I said we were going to do this, but I think what I'm going to do is, I think just for storylines, we do this, and then we run one of the race of, the pirate race, the kind of our Pacific Islander race style, which I can't remember what they're called off the top of my head. So that determines what our race is going to be. So we're going to do that. Level scaling, none is fine. We're going to go on classic, and we are actually going to skip the initial intro. We walk down a path. We walk past people that we saw in game 1. They talk. They're dead. We listen. That brings us back. We're not really skipping the intro. We're going to skip the first 30 seconds of walking down a path of the intro because it makes you do the rest of it. So, and there'll be plenty of path walking involved as well. So not much we can do. I forgot. We are going to also attempt to keep these videos under 30 minutes.
Shares this strange floating platform with you.
So I'm going to set a timer.
His face is creased by so many wrinkles that his features lie buried amid shadowy pockets of skin. Still, the dwarf's well-practiced habits have left telltale tracks of a welcoming rictus across his visage.
Now, one of the things I like about this game is all the voice acting. But we're going to have to sit through a bit of it here in this first episode.
You can see his smile coming before it blooms, reshaping the dwarf's face from a hanging sack of flesh into something resembling an oddly carved merry gourd, replete with unhealthy bumps and discolored splotches.
All right, basic backstory. Game 1, there is a god who's taken an avatar and he's waging a war across the country. And also, kind of at the same time, he gets blown up, kind of before we get there. We come into the picture, and there's a bunch of kids and babies that are being born without souls. I guess they're all babies when they're born. I guess technically babies are kids. They're born without souls, and essentially, while there's some intelligence there, they're not really human. And so we're brought into this area at a time when that's an issue. As part of our travels and travails to figure that out, we essentially take over a cursed castle with a sentient keeper, statue, and below the castle is a labyrinth with a huge statue of this mystical Audra. This would be our Audra right here. It's essentially a soul stone or a magic stone or something along those lines. It holds kind of spiritual energy. The idea. Quest goes on, we solve it, we return, potentially all these souls, we figure it out. In the meantime, between games, what happens is the god that was killed earlier, whose avatar was wandering around and got blown up, he inhabits this giant statue of Audra, and he breaks free, and unfortunately our castle is above it. So he kills a bunch of people and marches off into the sunset, and we go into a deep coma-like state. And that's where this gives us. Our soul here talking to this dwarf. That's it in a nutshell. I never beat the first game. I got very deep in it. Got to a point where I had a quest I could not even a little bit complete. And had nothing else going on and couldn't figure out where to go next. I probably played 2/3, 3/4 of it.
Sit. Please. Thank you for joining us, Watcher of Cadnua.
The gaunt woman seated at the table is clad in time-worn black armor that seems too massive for her to move in.
Nope.
A pale, slender neck rises from the gorget, topped by a hollow face. The milky skin stretched across it is delicate and translucent, like parchment that has been scraped clean too many times. She is preoccupied with the arrangement of cards on the table between you. With each movement, her armor squeaks and groans as though bearing an incredible weight. She places a final card, gives a nod of satisfaction, and raises her eyes to meet yours.
So these two are one god, kind of a twin god type of thing, generally male and female. She's got a bunch of names. Many of the gods in this game do, and have different aspects. So kind of this night aspect is one of them. But we're talking to one of the gods in the game.
Your brush with the divine has drained you of your powers, fractured your memories. Look upon these cards. They represent the courses of your life. You alone know best how they flowed. Arrange them to fit what you remember.
So, we don't actually get the cards, but this is kind of a nice nod to the original Ultima 4, where you went through and you were shown different cards from a gypsy woman who flipped them over and asked you morality questions based on the two cards that were turned over. And as you worked your way through these morality questions, that shows your class. So, in kind of a little nod to the past, to Lord British and Ultima, we see something similar. We've got all of our cards, our fortune, in this case, our past, laid out between us. We don't actually get to go through and pick the cards. We're just going to do this. We've got a few options. The first one is Benevolent Soul. In the first game, we return the Hollowborn souls, all those souls that were missing from the children, to the Deerwoods children as we pledge to Hyleia. And we can mouse over and see who all these people are. In this case, Hyleia is the goddess of sky, maternity, creativity, yada, yada, yada. You were kind and merciful to everyone you encountered, sympathetic to their pain, charitable. We played it lawful good, essentially. Fair and balanced, or maybe not lawful good, maybe chaotic good, to be honest. So fair and balanced. This is probably our lawful good. You return the Hollowborn lost souls to the wheel, essentially the Wheel of Time, kind of another nod to another franchise that you might be familiar with, but also similar to many other kind of, it all comes out of kind of similar types of mythology. As we had pledged to Bareth. Bareth is the god of death, cycles, mortality, and inevitability. Keeper and cycle of life and death, Bareth is sought to claim the lives of those who have lived past their prime. According to folklore, Bareth is seen often in the form of the Pallid Knight or the Usher, two skeletal figures who lead such people to their deaths by way of challenge or trickery. This is who we're talking to right now. Survival of the fittest. We used the souls of the Hollowborn to strengthen the Deerwood, which was the area we're in, as we had pledged to Galawain. Galawain, a god of hunt, assassins, pursuit, wilderness, and predatory creatures, sometimes thought to take the form of a fur-clad hunter with a great hound. Galawain favors the survival of the strong and the culling of the weak. Most other choices are made to strengthen you and your allies while punishing and weakening your enemies. Dark times. We consigned the souls of the Hollowborn to oblivion, as we had pledged to Rimgand, the god of entropy, cold, winter, bad luck, famine, and natural disasters. Manifests as a giant albino aurochs, moving amidst a giant blizzard in the plodding footsteps of Rimgard come death and disintegration. Keeper of Secrets. We consigned the souls to oblivion, again as Rimgard had requested, but we ultimately gave them to Woedica. Woedica is the goddess of justice, law, and oaths. She's an old kind of noble woman with a crown on her head, and she's your god of law and justice. And we kept the secrets. We didn't tell anybody about the gods. We did that as well. Everything bad. We scattered the souls of the Hollowborn randomly, and we did absolutely everything wrong, but we did just enough right to beat the game. These are our options. Now, we're going to get into this a little bit because some of this is going to help determine our character as far as how our storyline is going to go. I have played a little bit. I know kind of what our first 4 or 5 characters are going to be in our party, and I know that we're going to have a fighter or rogue. It's our choice. We're going to have a priest or a monk. It's our choice. We're going to have a wizard or a multi-class wizard, essentially, our choice. And we're going to have kind of a psychic, psionic type of melee or range class for that matter. Or he can multi-class as well. I tend to not go multi-class initially because I'm not good enough at the game to really deal with that. So we are going to keep those guys fairly single. So we're going to have a fighter, a priest, a mage, and essentially a DPS psionicist. So those are going to be 4 of our first characters. The one thing that's missing from that group is a rogue. Now, when we went from real time with pause to turn-based, we lost some benefit of kind of your assassin rogue type class. Because one of the things they could do was they could go invisible, and depending on what their stats were, they'd get X number of attacks while they're invisible. Now that it's turn-based, we can go invisible for 1 turn, but it takes our action, so we're not really attacking. So some of this rogue stuff is going to fall by the wayside. But I still think I would like to go with something that could have some stealth, something that could have some lock or some trap picking. So we're going to go either rogue or ranger, both of which are going to be melee DPS, both of which can give me kind of that stealth and, lock picking gameplay that I want. So because of that, I think I'm going to choose survival of the fittest, since Galawain is that god, the god of hunt and assassins and pursuit. And we're going to play that, if that makes sense. That's my goal. That's my kind of my thought on this. So we're going to go ahead and use this as our selected history.
Does everything appear to be in order? Good. Welcome to the Beyond. I am Berath. One half, anyway.
She points a finger in the direction of the dwarf who led you here. Though the movement is slight, her gauntlet squeaks like a rusty hinge. The dwarf's rictus returns as he nods in the woman's direction.
Tell me, do you remember when we last met?
I think it's probably 2, but I'm just going to say I don't remember, because I honestly don't.
She places a card on the table, showing a tall tower. The gods' constellations are arrayed around it in the sky. You remember now. The Hall of Stars in Twin Elms, where you spoke with the gods.
You came to that tower seeking our aid. You chose to pledge your services to other gods. Still, a pledge unmade stands fairer in this court than a pledge broken.
She places a card in the middle of the arrangement. A bell tower with no bell. Her fingertips slowly drag away from the card, faintly creaking as they retreat across the table.
You had need of the gods once before. Now it seems we have need of you. The being that occupied Odnua's statue beneath your castle was the dead god, Aothus. Of this we are certain. What we do not know is what his intentions are.
So we've kind of done an introduction of most of the gods through our history, but Aothus is kind of the god that's central to this. He's the one that led the war. He's the one whose avatar was killed, and again, he's the one who inhabited our statue and blew up our castle. So he's a god of rebirth, redemption, dawn, spring, and the light. So essentially a pretty decent god as far as we could believe, right? Believed to have possessed the body of a red Keteran farmer Vaidwen during the Saints' War, and had been destroyed along with Vaidwen at the end of the war. He recently reformed his essence in the statue of Maros Nua beneath Cadnu, which is our castle. The process of pulling himself from the endless past, he destroyed the castle and left the Watcher of Cadnua on the brink of death. Thus.
Though Aothus stole a large fragment of your soul, you were strong enough to survive the onslaught and enter the in-between. You and he are still connected. He has chosen a body made of living Audra, perfused with the power of thousands of souls, including yours. It should be little difficulty for an experienced watcher to find him.
Why don't you do it yourself?
Taking a physical form in Aora is fraught with peril. Most mortal minds and bodies are incapable of containing divine power. It can lead to problems, as Aothus learned not long ago.
Fair enough.
Her armored hand gingerly places a card sideways on the table. It features a man with a burst of light instead of a head.
So we've got some options. We can say destroyed my castle. We can say I've had enough. Why do I care about any of this? Or we can just say let's get on with it. I'm gonna go with let's get on.
Good. Before you return to Aora as my herald, you must remember who you were, the last whisper of life in death.
For a moment, the sockets of her eyes darken, leaving the pits of a death's head gazing out at you.
Now, it's interesting. You can go through this dialogue to where you say, you know what, I've had enough of you. And she says, all right, she returns your soul to the wheel and the game ends. Speed run complete.
When you can picture your own face, the Beyond will lead you back to your own kind, to the world of mortals.
Okay, my original plan was to go with a elf, one of the pale elves from The White That Wends. So the exotic, the Arctic, Antarctic, or something. I think it's supposed to be Antarctic, South Pole. And then make a kind of a rogue class, maybe not an assassin, but something along the lines of You know, one of these things. Now, Street Fighter's pretty cool. You can throw them right into the middle of everything, and as they're flanked or bloodied, they get more and more powerful. So they're great to throw in the middle of the crowd and fight everybody at once. You have a Trickster who gets some illusion stuff. I really like the Debonair, who gets a pretty cool... they can't engage. Engage means they can't tie another player into their combat. If somebody wants to walk away from them, they don't get a free hit, essentially. But we gain a significant hit to crit against charmed opponents, and we're able to charm other people, Kith. Various races all fall under Kith, but essentially sentient people. So not animals, not bugs, not zombies, but I can charm people and make them fight on my side, and then I get bonuses to kill them while they're fighting on my side. I was thinking of going something like this, you know, high society thefts, white glove assassination, thinking, you know, maybe kind of a wealthy, kind of rich elf from the north, you know, with the look and all that sort of thought. That was my original plan until we decided that we were going to go, we were going to change our race. So we're going to go Amua because of what we took as far as our background, our history, that we're an infamous captain. So at the beginning of the first game, we're showing up and you're not really sure why. And your background is fairly vague, but you're given some options, you know, it's time to see the world or something bad happened or whatever. So our story is we were maybe an infamous pirate captain, we had a mutiny, and we decided our life was better off, and we went to the Deerwood or whatever it's called, and started our game there, and now we're back to Deadfire, to the archipelgo. So we're gonna run an Amua. Amau? I'm gonna go Amua. That's not right. Sorry, accept it. We'll go with that. The largest of the Kith races commonly found in or near oceans, not truly aquatic. They have an affinity for water, and many of the civilizations, such as the Ruatai, are based on naval dominance. So that's what we're going, and we get +2 might, which is pretty useful for everybody, including magic users, because it does determine damage both for melee but spells as well as healing. So might's pretty important for us. We can go either an island Amua from the Deadfire archipelgo, or we can go coastal. I'm going to go coastal because that explains why this is new to us. We haven't been here before. We haven't met these people. We're going to say we were coastal. We're in the area, but we weren't here in the archipelago. Time and distance have divorced them from their distant Huana kin. Coastal are less intimately connected to the sea than island Huana and are established by their cool skin tones. We got that. We got towering physique. So we get resistance to might afflictions. So staggered, dazed, and stunned get knocked down 1 step, which means we can't be stunned, because if we're stunned, we're actually going to be dazed. If we're dazed, we're actually staggered. If we're staggered, it's not going to have an effect on us. That's essentially how it works as far as I believe. Let's see. It just tells us what might afflictions are. So we're going to do okay. So that's our goal. So we're going to click over to the next. And I'm thinking now, I was really thinking, let's look at a multi-class. I don't really want to do a lot of multi-classes, but one we might be able to get away with. Because if we go fighter rogue, that is called a swashbuckler. So I'm kind of thinking about it. Again, I don't know that I'm good enough to do this, but I think I'd like to try it. Now, I was thinking my other option, if not a fighter, would be to go with a ranger. There's a really cool kind of class. It's more melee class ranger, where you fight right side by side with your animal instead of, back with your bow while the animal runs up. And I was kind of thinking about going with something like that, but I'm kind of thinking I might go rogue fighter. So let's do that. So we've got a bunch of options here. Black Jacket, they get an additional weapon set, and they can switch their weapons back and forth between free. This lets you do some cool things, like you can actually attack somebody with your big two-handed sword and then switch to a sword and shield, for free before you end your turn. And so you have extra defense while other people are doing things. Now, fighters generally get this constant recovery. They restore health all the time while they're playing. Slightly less effective on the Black Jacket, but this is really powerful. The other option is Devoted. Devoted go 1 weapon, which could be pretty cool for us as well. We could go with just, like I say, like a two-handed weapon or something. We combine that with maybe some of our kind of our abilities that we get as a rogue. Might be pretty cool. Unbroken is like a shield, tower shield type of classic, big, huge, like defensive fighter. And tactician. Restore discipline when successfully interrupt, gains brilliant tactician. While all enemies are flanked and no allies are flanked, we get a brilliant inspiration. What does that do for us? +5 intellect, use their abilities and spells at +1 power level, and periodically regain class resources. That's pretty good. And realistically, if we were going to stick with our straight storyline, probably this would be the best because this is our pirate captain, right? But I want to say that this is going to be harder for me. This is a harder class, I would say, a harder subclass. So I think I'm going to go devoted. Somebody's home. The dogs are about to go crazy. Shorty's already gone. All right. So I think we're going to go devoted, and then we'll pick, like, I don't know, like a great sword or something like that, right? We get bonus might. We're huge. I think that will be fun. So let's go ahead and do that. So that's going to be our first one. And knockdown's pretty good. What does Discipline Barrage give us? Sorry about the barking. There's a puppy dog outside. So, Discipline Barrage. Fighter intensely focus on their training, gaining aware inspiration for a short time. So, if we're aware, we have bonus perception, and 50% of our grazes become hits instead of grazes. It's pretty good. The option is knockdown. I think I'm going to go with graze here. We're going to get this one pretty fast. Our other character is going to have knockdown anyway, so I think that's fine to start with. And our second class is going to be Rogue. And then we have the option of no subclass, Assassin, Street Fighter, Trickster, and Debonair. And I'm kind of thinking we go Street Fighter here. We get her right in. Copper doesn't really howl very often, but that is about the closest she gets to kind of her normal, to a hound dog thing. And I really like it, even though she's not supposed to be doing it inside. She's supposed to be outside when she barks. But sneak attacks become more deadly, and initiative decreases when the Street Fighter's flanked. So I get more sneak attack, but my initiative goes down. I think that's a benefit. I think low initiative is what we want. So when we're flanked or bloodied. Weapon crit damage increases when we're both flanked and bloodied. So bloodied means we're below 50%. 25 to 50% health, we're going to do more damage if we're flanked as well. So initiative is penalized when we're not flanked or bloodied. So initially, we're going to go a little later in the turn. Once we're flanked, things start to get better. So I think we're going to go with that. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So escape is a great movement thing where you can go in. And you can use this as a free thing. So you can either use it to get into combat, or you can use it to get back out of combat after your attack. You could run in, then pop your escape and get back out, or use your escape to get in, punch somebody, and then use your normal movement to get back out, however you like. Crippling Strike is pretty good too. It gets you bonus penetration, which will help get through additional to armor and do more damage, and it hobbles them. So they have a negative 5% to their dexterity. I think I'm going to kind of use this. I like the movement it gives us. I've enjoyed it. I've played a little bit of a rogue class. That's how we got the 10 points we had to spend the last couple nights. Now, we may as well go big into strength because we've got 2 bonus points. We'll put 5 into it. Constitution is going to be very good because we're going to be in the middle of fights. And we're going to get that bonus damage and stuff when we're 50 to 25. Obviously, the more Constitution, the more hit points we have, the longer we're going to be within that window. So I'm going to give us at least 5 points there. Dexterity doesn't help us as much. It does get you some defense due to your reflexes, and it's going to help our initiative, I believe. It's also going to help how fast we are a little bit, but we have that escape to give us a little bit of bonus movement, so I'm going to kind of ignore it for the moment. Perception is going to give us accuracy, which is really good. So I think we do want some of that. I'm going to give us at least 3. We might go up to 5. Intellect, area of effect, ability duration, will. I don't think we need that. Resolve, hostile effect duration, gives us a little bit of deflection, a little bit of will. So it's mostly defensive for us, which probably isn't bad because we are going to be going in. We're going to be putting ourselves in bad places. So I think maybe we just leave it. I'm going to put the extra 2 points here. So we're going to go 17 might, 15, 15. and I think we're gonna hit next, and my alarm is about to go off. That's the Deerwood, Darrenzar, Deadfire. I mean, we wanted to say we were coastal, not from there. Many old are associated with the Principi. Okay, that's not too bad. They're kind of the pirates, the free people that roam the area. Ruatai. Naval kingdom is dominated by coastal. This is where we're from. Here we go. And ruled by the Ranganui. I know nothing about this really as far as the lore goes, to be honest, so we're going to be learning this together. Currently the most prosperous of the old empires, Ruatai has expended aggressively into the Deadfire archipelgo to secure natural resources that are scarce in their native storm-torn land. Though folk, dwarves, and orlins can be found in Ruatai, most are merchants or remnants of the old kingdom of Ruatai, conquered as they were seized centuries ago. Legends say that the Ruataians came to their lands in the Deadfire archipelago in the wake of a terrible cataclysm, but the details have been lost. So that's going to get us an extra constitution. Is that really what we want? Doesn't hurt. We'll go for it. It's all about the story. We're not min-maxing the character here. We're creating our character. This infamous captain that survived a mutiny, escaped to the Deerwood, and then came back. Not quite to home, but at least an area familiar with. And that probably puts us at 30 right there. But, whoops. Yeah. Dismiss. Come on, stop. And we'll get back to that in a second. We're going to finish our character creation. So now, our options here, slave, scholar, merchant, mercenary, could fit with our ship captain. Hunter, not so much. Drifter, potentially, but I don't know. We could be a dissident if we're sticking with our pirate theme, or even aristocrat. Diplomacy, bluff, intimidate. History, intimidate, stealth. Streetwise, athletics, and intimidate. Or even merchant. It could have been a merchant ship. Streetwise, bluff, and diplomacy. Let's go mercenary. Available weapons. Now this is where it gets to be more fun. So we've got some options, and I think because we're gonna go with just one big as far as our devoted, I think we go with a big two-hander, right? We've got a lot of might. We're big. We're huge. We want to get in there and just slash around and kill as much stuff as possible. So I'm kind of thinking we get one available weapon type. I'm thinking either Morningstar, because Morningstars do direct your targets toward the body, dealing less damage, but lowering the targets. Oh, so this is what's called a modal. Different weapons have a modal. That modal is like a special ability you can target on or off. It's a free action, and it just essentially says how you're going to attack with it. So this one has a modal ability called Body Blows. And that body blow strikes the body, dealing less damage, but it lowers your fortitude, which is your resist on the internal physical. Okay, so poison, disease, whatever. So if we were to go poison, again, we're going to have half-class rogue. If we were to use poison weapons, this would be pretty cool. We could hit him with this and poison him. Not too bad. And then the weapon itself, we right-click, you can see does crushing and piercing damage. So that's the type of damage it's going to do. So depending on what their armor is, they're going to have resists to that. The other option would be, I don't know, maybe a greatsword, right? Greatswords are awesome, always fun. It's going to do slashing and piercing. And its modal is savage attack, increasing damage at the cost of accuracy. So we do more damage, but we're less likely to hit. I'm kind of feeling the Morningstar, right? Let's go with that. I think that'll be pretty cool. We've got some other options. This one lets us hit from the back. Engaging threat. This will let us fight defensively, and we can engage more people. I don't care about engaging. This is, again, a defensive one. And this one's really good. The problem with the S-Talk is that it's just piercing. So if you're against skeletons or something like that, you're more likely to come up with a spot where your weapon isn't very good. So I think this one with crushing and piercing gets us a pretty good mix of damage types. This works well with kind of our class, and I think we roll on into the next one. So we have our character. We don't have a lot of options for who we want to look like as far as this goes. let's kind of scroll down here to the female section. Where are we? Here we go. So we can be blue or green. And of course, they've already told us the coastal are blue, whereas the archipelgo are green. So we'll go here. I may download some more pictures and see if we can adjust this later. But for now, they give you really limited pictures here. So colors, again, we're going to probably stay with that. I think actually she looks pretty badass right now. I don't really have a huge problem with that. Colors right now, blue and kind of, is this our other color? I kind of like that. Do we want to go with maybe like a... Let's do something with a little bit of color. We'll go blue and this green, right? It hasn't actually picked a color. Maybe we do a deeper blue, maybe like a sea kind of... That's a little bit too close to the skin color. No, I like this. Let's go something like that. Maybe play with some different greens. Could go with some sort of other kind of teals. Let's go with that. I think that looks pretty cool. Skin, I think I'm gonna leave. I think it looks good just like that. I'm not really sure what is this brighter color. Now I've kind of lost it, to be honest. I'm gonna go with this to get us this brighter secondary color for, I don't know if they're supposed to be tattoos or like just actual skin color. But I think that looks pretty cool. Hair, well, we've messed with everything else. Let's kind of see what we can do with hair. That's awfully bright. Secondary color, oddly enough, seems to be the primary color. I mean, we can make think of this as roots and this is highlights, I think is the way to go with it. So if I go with like a dark color there and then maybe a slightly lighter color there, matches that pretty well. What if we would... I know I said I wasn't going to mess with any of this, and yet here we are. I'm going to go with something like that. I think that looks pretty cool. Head-wise, you're only going to have like a few options. This is kind of the... Well, that's not too bad, actually, because if we supposedly survived this this mutiny, you know, maybe we've got some scars to show for our life. I'm fine with that. Hair-wise, you know, I think something pulled back. I honestly think that's just fine. We could do some other sort of kind of... that looks pretty good, too. Go shaved. No, I don't like this. I think that, you know, it's long, but it's all tied back. It's out of the way. It's ready for, you know, being on the ship. It's practical. Let's go there. I'm gonna go...
I'm sorry, but you... Eagle Eyes, you need my help?
For the Everlight! I'll find a safe path. I'm here for you.
You're going down! Vax has got nothing on me. Mm-hmm. Trinket takes point. The rest of you can follow my arrows.
I like that one. Let's go with that. Now we have these poses, and they're essentially what they do when you're not doing anything else. So, you know, if you want to play your drunken monk, when they're not doing anything, this is what they're doing. We can go stoic. She's our ship captain. Stoic's not too bad. We go roguish. We are a little bit roguish. Let's go roguish. And we need a name. Watcher's gonna be the initial one. Give me a couple seconds here, and I'm gonna do a little Google search, and we'll find out what we want to be called. All right, supposedly Loa means spirits, and we're a watcher. We can see souls of people, and the souls can see us. The departed can talk to us, and we can help usher them on to their afterlife. So I think that's an appropriate name. So we're gonna go with that, and it's short and it's easy. So we're gonna go with Loa. So this is our character. We're dual-classed fighter rogue. Power source is discipline for fighter, guile for rogue. Every class has kind of their own little source for what their special abilities come from. We are Anamua, coastal Anamua, from Ruatai. We were a mercenary, main hand, accuracy, deflection, fortitude, reflex, all that sort of good stuff. These are abilities. We're very strong, good constitution, pretty reasonable perception. Our main weapon is going to be a Morning Star, and in fact, that's what we're going to be devoted to as far as our class goes. We've got escape, constant recovery, all this sort of stuff. Our skills, we've got 2 athletics, 1 explosives, 1 mechanics. We're going to want to boost mechanics. One of the reasons we need this class is to have somebody who can do a little bit of trap and lock picking. So that's going to be useful. We could go with these 2 probably and leave the explosives to our other fighter. We've also got a little bit of sleight of hand and a little bit of stealth. We're also going to want to bring stealth up. I'm not as worried about the sleight of hand. I'm not there to pickpocket people. But we do want to be able to do a little bit of this type of stuff. So I think that's pretty good. Our passive skills, and we've got a little bit of bluff, a little bit of intimidate. That makes sense. A little bit of streetwise and a little bit of survival. I might bring up survival a little bit. I like kind of the idea of the intimidate and the streetwise. Might be a little bit of insight as well. It gives you some additional kind of, it helps you read people. And I think that makes sense for our pirate captain to be able to read people a little bit. Although maybe she doesn't. Maybe that's why she had a mutiny. Maybe we avoid it altogether and we just go with intimidate. Maybe that was her leadership style. So we're going to do that. So hit next and
Go
continue
forth
on.
now, Watcher, as my herald. Know that I do not give you this title lightly. When the time comes, you will have the power to reveal the souls that cling to you, to open the gateway from the in-between to the waking world. Find Aethys. Learn his plans. When I have cause to talk to you, I will summon you.
With a quick gesture of her hand, you feel a sharp pain in what would be your chest. The pain continues, intruding deeper into your soul. Looking down, you see a small lump of darkness roiling within you. The darkness lingers there, but the pain abates and fades entirely within the span of a few seconds.
A chime. Do not fear, Herald. It will not harm you unless you choose to cross me. I trust it will not come to that.
Her gauntleted hand gestures to the dwarf, hovering nearby. The dwarf nods, contorts his face with his odd smile, and gestures to a new door.
All right. Told you there'd be plenty of paths. You know, we got 2 good paths walking in and out of the room there. As we again cross the gulf between the spirits and the physical world. Seeing as golf is used for bodies of water as well, I think that's appropriate. And there we go. When we come back with the next episode, we will actually start the gameplay. We'll walk in here, we will re-enter our body, and we will see how things are going. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this first episode of Pillars of Eternity Deadfire. We will see you next time. Cheers.